Is this the year for We Are? Welcome into the Voice of College Football discussion, debate, and analysis with you. We appreciate you stopping by. Please like the video and subscribe. We are going through all the power conference schedules, and we're basically sizing up what this team took on in 2024 versus 2025 in terms of conference play and the difference in difficulty, whether that's increased or decreased. And for Penn State, look at 2024. They got that close to a national championship game. Did they break through? Well, they won playoff games. They got to the playoff. They won double-digit games, of course, and beyond the 11 that they usually get, or the 10 in the regular season. But still couldn't beat Ohio State, still could not win the Big Ten. So here we are without a conference championship since 2016, no national title since 1986, and also without a legitimate non-conference foe. The last 2 years it's been West Virginia. And that's a game that should be played on occasion because they are old Eastern Bloc rivals, independents from yesteryear. Penn State won that game 34-12 last year, but look at the schedule. Nobody's here. Nevada, FIU, and Villanova, that's pathetic. You're freaking Penn State. We got on Indiana for not playing anyone this past year, or in 2024. Ohio State didn't play anyone non-conference in 2024. Mitigating circumstances there since Washington was on the non-conference schedule, and of course they joined the conference. Michigan played nobody in 22 and 23. Rutgers, other teams are doing the same things, but you're Penn State. You are freaking Penn State. Schedule somebody. This is pathetic. It's embarrassing. It's really embarrassing to play Nevada, FIU, and Villanova non-conference. Best two words I've got for it. Pathetic and embarrassing. Penn State, let me get it through to you. Pathetic and embarrassing. Your athletic director, pathetic and embarrassing. Nevada was 3-10 last year. They are 7-30 since 2022. They do have a second-year head coach in Jeff Choate. First meeting between the schools. FIU 4-8. Last season. They've got a new head coach in Willie Simmons. These two programs got together in 2007, 59-0 Penn State. We've all been waiting for the rematch. Here we have it 18 years later. Villanova, Penn State. This has been a better basketball game in the past. Penn State only leads the series 5-3-1. They last met in 2021. The last time Nova won was in 1951. On to the Big Ten and the opener after a bye week against the Oregon Ducks. Penn State leads the series 3-2. Of course, they met in the Big Ten championship game. Really competitive game, interesting game, exciting game, a lot of big plays, and Penn State, though, couldn't catch up. 1995 Rose Bowl went to Penn State, of course, completing that undefeated season, and the two teams had a home-and-home back in 1963-64. Penn State at UCLA to take on the Bruins at the Rose Bowl October 4th. It's always special when somebody shows up at the Rose Bowl that has not been there since, well, we just mentioned, 1995. Well, Penn State did play USC, of course, in the Rose Bowl after the 2008 season as well. Penn State won this one 27-11 this past year in Happy Valley. UCLA leads the series 4-3. They played a few times in the 1960s. Northwestern, the opponent, on October 11th. 4-8 football team under David Braun last year. Penn State leads the series 16-5. Preston Stone, the new quarterback at Northwestern. Penn State at Iowa has been an interesting series. Hawkeyes coming off an 8-5, disappointing 8-5 season. Penn State only leads this series 18-14, 12-11 since joining the Big Ten in 1993. Last time out, 31-0 Penn State. Nittany Lions have won 7 of 9. And they may face a more formidable Iowa offense this time around with Mark Gronowski at quarterback and Tim Laster, of course, in his second season as offensive coordinator at Iowa, improving that Hawkeye offense. Then the bye week, and then here we go. Old nemesis Ohio State in Columbus. Penn State's 8-23 against Ohio State since joining the Big Ten, 14-25 overall. James Franklin 1-10 against the Buckeyes. Penn State's lost 12 of 13 against Ohio State. And interestingly enough, The largest margin of victory for both teams in this series is 63-14. For Penn State, that was the 1994 demolition of Ohio State in Happy Valley. And for the Buckeyes, that was just about 10 years ago, 2013 to be exact. On November 8th, a tougher than expected, or what has been in the past, Indiana team, where Penn State has dominated this series 25-2. Fernando Mendoza, the new Indiana quarterback coming in from Cal. Of course, the two most recent wins for Indiana, well, they won in 2020 with Michael Penix, of course, diving for the pylon in overtime. And then in 2023, Drew Aller needed to fire a long touchdown pass to pull that one as Penn State held off the Hoosiers. All right, coming down the stretch at Michigan State, that used to be the closer for these two teams in the Big Ten. Penn State only leads this series 19-18-1. Michigan State looking to improve on 5-7 last year with Jonathan Smith in his second season. First-rate head coach, and also Aiden Childs at quarterback. 42-0 the last time these two teams got together in 2023. Penn State and Nebraska. That just sounds good. They played a few times in the 80s. They had a great game in Happy Valley in particular. Nebraska leads the series 10-8, and they've won 4 of 5, even though Penn State's been the better team since Nebraska joined the Big Ten. The Huskers have won 4 of 5, including in 2020. Dylan Raiola, but at this point, is going to have basically 2 seasons under his belt, and that's Penn State's final home game of 2025. Then they go to Rutgers to close it out. They have swept the Scarlet Knights in the Big Ten 10 straight years, outscoring Rutgers 295-55. 32-2 is the all-time series, but of course Rutgers a better football team the last 2 years. It's 7-6, 7-6 under Greg Schiano, going to bowl games, respectable bowl games, and Ethan Kalkimanis, the better quarterback, really the best quarterback in play for Rutgers in over a decade. All right, again, the exercise here is comparing 2024 schedule to 25 to see the discrepancy in the schedules because of the size of the conference is huge and worth examining. So for Penn State, they only play 2 common opponents in the Big Ten, Ohio State and UCLA, that they both played in 2024 and will play this fall. Other than that, 7 different opponents in the Big Ten. That is just completely unheard of. Did not happen in the past because the conferences were not this big for a team to be playing 7 different opponents within the conference. So for Penn State, last year it was Illinois, Minnesota, USC, Washington, Wisconsin, Maryland, and Purdue, teams that they will not face this fall. Those teams went a combined 23-40. Penn State won a close game against Illinois. They scored a late touchdown to broaden the gap. They, of course, almost were upset at Minnesota. Taken to overtime by USC at the Coliseum. And Wisconsin gave them a good game as well. Now turn those 7 opponents into Oregon, Indiana, which we don't expect to be an 8-1 football team in the Big Ten this year, Iowa, Rutgers, Nebraska, Michigan State, Northwestern. A more difficult task, no doubt about that. Turning 23-40 into 35-28. 12 games better. Nobody that Penn State faced last year out of those 7 different opponents are in the class of Oregon for sure. Illinois, Minnesota in the class, USC as well. Indiana, Iowa, Rutgers, I can make that comparison, but Penn State with a difficult game against Oregon to open Big Ten play. Please like and subscribe right here at the Voice of College Football. Appreciate you stopping by, and give me a call and join the chat here each and every Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday at 4 p.m. Eastern Time, the College Football Show. We'll see you then.